colour. It's going to be really boring, I'll say white.
My favourite colour is pink, for sure.
Minimalist, texturalist, if that's a word.
I like that.
And I quite like a bit of floral, so shall we say floralist?
I would say my design style is maximalist, playful and colourful.
Horse. Reliable. Strong and beautiful.
Oh, love that.
But a bit scary. Horses are scary, aren't they?
I think my animal would be a leopard. I mean, really, I just love leopard print, so I'm always going to say leopard. But, you know, I kind of like that. You know, I love cats, that feline, kind of playful, but, you know, there's a little bit of a bite to them, maybe.
I'm quite into Mediterranean at the minute.
Yeah.
So creams, soft stones, softer edges, things like that. I don't know if I'm a bit more influenced by that at the minute, but I'm starting to explore the creams instead of white.
And it's funny because when you say Mediterranean, I instinctively think of loads of bright reds and blues and, you know, that really like Italian tile, very like Dolce & Gabbana kind of vibes. So it's funny, isn't it, like how we kind of, a word kind of triggers those different,
mine's the beach
different
vibe,
emotions.
that kind of,
A bit of Ibiza with the like rattan and things like that. I don't really like following trends, but I really like this trend for like biophilic design, so bringing in like a lot of plants, and that's certainly what we're going to do with the show homes here at Sky House as well. So bringing in a little bit of nature, I think will be really nice.
God, it instantly springs to me, Spanderoa, less is more.
Oh God, mine's the opposite.
Keep it simple, stupid.
The book that I got published 2 years ago was called More is More Decor, so it's literally the total opposite. So I'm always like, you know, if it looks fine and it looks finished, add a pom-pom, do you know what I mean? So literally way the total opposite in that respect. And for me, it's kind of just ignoring trends and going with instinctively what you really like and what you really enjoy. So for me, it's all about having fun, being a bit playful, and like really showcasing your personality in your home.
Well, people, but if we're talking design, my wife will kill me if I don't say candles.
Oh yeah. And lighting in general, I
Lamps.
think, as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Cosy.
Cosy.
We can agree on that one.
We can definitely agree on cosy. I think in general, for me, I think what really makes a house a home is your personality. So showcasing your personality in the way you decorate your home, so that literally, you know, when you're sat there on a night watching TV with a glass of wine, or you've got your friends round, you can literally just like take a deep breath and feel a bit of joy actually when you look around the space.
My house might be quite boring then. The grey plague, which everyone has white render, grey plastic, AstroTurf, God, hate them. Internally, what's my peeve? Shiny, don't like shiny.
So pet peeves for me in interiors is short curtains.
Oh.
Like literally, it is like my biggest bugbear ever. And you see it so often. I'm like, please, can we just have the curtains to the floor?
I thought you might have said white or magnolia.
No, do you know what? I don't mind white at all. I've actually seen some great houses that are all white inside the walls, but pops of colour and things, you know, like an art gallery, I guess. But for me, it's the whole greige. It's that whole trend of everything has got to be grey. Grey walls, grey carpet, grey curtains. When you're a kid, surely, you know, when you're asked like what your favourite colour is, it's never grey, is it? Like, come on, let's add something at least, or even just add like some texture. You know,
Yeah.
We can have like everything whites and creams and neutrals, that kind of palette. But and then it's all about adding the interest with texture, isn't it?
So Siobhan, you're known for your maximalist style. What does maximalism mean and how would you incorporate it into the spaces of a new build show home?
I think there's a real misconception with maximalism. I think a lot of people think we just kind of throw everything at it and kind of see what sticks, kind of like fingers crossed, hope for the best. Where actually with considered maximalism, it's all about you know, kind of a fairly refined colour palette, you know, choosing patterns that really go together well and really complement each other, and also things like with the textures and things like that. So it's all very, you know, there's a lot, you know, I'm not going to say that it's, you know, we're definitely not minimalist, but it's
not chaos.
Considered. It's not chaos.
It's organised chaos.
Well, sometimes organised. But I think for me, it's about walking into a room and not being able to read it straight away.
Right.
So having those pockets of interest, like little vignettes here and there. So, you know, as you open the door, you're like, oh, okay, that's great. And then you're like, oh, that's a beautiful light. Oh, you know, this is a great rug. And it's kind of that kind of layering that that I really, really love.
So as you're probably aware, I'm an architect.
Yeah.
I'm a self-confessed sort of minimalist, texturalist, floralist.
Yeah.
So the biophilic stuff we've touched on.
Yeah.
How do you think I'm going to feel with your scary maximalism? Am I going to be? 'Cause I don't know what your designs are, by the way. It's going to be a surprise to me as well.
Yeah.
How do you think I'm going to feel?
So I have chosen quite a refined palette, and it's a palette of like darker neutrals. So we've got a lot of olive greens, we've got rusts, we've got wood, we've got marble. So there's quite a lot of textures, lots of plants and things like that. So it's not a colour scheme, because usually, you know, at home, for instance, or if I'm designing a scheme for a commercial project, sometimes there's like a lot of colour and things like that going on. Because Sky House's, you know, philosophy is about sustainability and things like that. It's trying to bring those different elements into the space.
Some of those colours as well, because we are sort of bringing back the Victorian streets, the Georgian streets, that kind of gentle density. Some of those colours are quite Victorian, Edwardian anyway,
absolutely.
so there might be a little homage to that there.
Yeah, with a modern twist.
Okay, so can you walk us through some of your design choices for the show homes, and what was the inspiration behind the colours, textures and overall look?
So as I said, we've gone for quite a lot of like olive greens and a lot of green, actually, a lot of green in the space, various different greens. And then we've got things like, you know, like a pop of mustard and things like that here and there, pops of burgundy. So quite a rich, like kind of autumnal palette, but then balanced with some other, like some neutrals, so some creams and a little bit of white too.
Will each space have its own theme, or will the theme go all the way through?
The theme is going to go all the way through, because I really like that. And I think when you're, especially with the show home, you kind of want to feel that flow, don't you, around. You don't want to be like, oh, this is this, and then this is going industrial, this is going cottagecore, like, so it's basically one scheme, but then we've got like the pops of colour, like kind of going through.
How do you think our buyers are going to see these interiors? Because what we're doing is, I think, it's quite brave and quite interesting. And like I said, I've not seen anything yet, so it's going to be quite a shock for me. What do you think our buyers will think of it?
So I looked at all your previous developments, and I've kind of taken that Scandi, but amped it up. So it's kind of like taking those, like the kind of Scandi, Japandi influences, but then just taking it up a notch with more of an enriched colour palette, basically. More artwork on the walls. You know, there is going to be like some more, I don't know, a bit more of a rich kind of design. But yeah, so I think I've taken that element, but then I think I've just added my little touch to it.
What challenge did you face when designing within the minimalist framework that Sky House Co prefers? And how did you overcome it?
One of the things I'm always asked about being like an interior designer, and especially because I have got my own very unique personal style. So my house is very pink, it's very loud, you know, there's a lot going on. But I think one of the skills of an interior designer is kind of taking that away, isn't it? Taking your kind of personality out and really like going with what the client wants. And so, you know, still using my skills in terms of, you know, the layering and the colours and the textures, and, you know, making sure that we've got the flow, making sure that the rooms are functional as well as aesthetically pleasing. What
was the brief to you? Was it just do what you want, crack on, or was there an element of control, or is it literally just do what you want?
I think the Sky House didn't really give me a massive brief in terms of, you know, this is what it's got to be. It was kind of just like, look at what we've done previously, you know, kind of read about our ethos and, you know, the whole like sustainability, community, looking at the surroundings as well, where, you know, where we are. It's quite a lot of countryside and things like that around. So it's kind of just taking those inspirations really. So
You've worked on a lot of projects. What makes this collaboration with Sky House so unique?
It's about new builds, and I've never really done anything really much with new build design. So for me that's quite exciting, because, you know, if you've got a period house, if you've got a Victorian or a Georgian house or something with high ceilings and loads of features, then, you know, I think it's quite easy in a way to kind of decorate. Whereas if you've got a new build, you're kind of starting from that whole blank canvas, which for me is very exciting. So yeah, I think that's one of the things.
So part of our brand is about light.
Yeah.
The windows, the roof garden, things like that. So how have you incorporated the amount of light that you'll get in these houses compared to traditional new builds with small windows?
So one of the things that we always say from an interior design point of view is that every room should have 8 different light sources. So again, obviously we've got great light here with you know, this double aspect windows, but also that's things like, you know, your ambient light, your task lighting, candles, you know, it's all that thing like really encompassing. And actually, you know, when I first started thinking about 8 light sources, that sounds a lot, but actually, you know, having those pockets, those pools of light, and also looking at how the rooms are working like during the day, on a night, it's all that, and seasons, exactly. So, and you know, the same with the colours that I've chosen. It's the colours that I've chosen for the show homes are all colours that will work in the summer and the winter too.
And what are your aspirations for the future, and has this collaboration changed your aspirations or the direction you're going to take?
I think I would love to do more of this kind of work, you know, where literally it's kind of the bare bones. You literally are starting from scratch with, you know, albeit a really cool canvas. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that whole process, rather than, you know, actually starting with something and then making it better. Actually starting with a totally fresh space is really excited. And obviously I've got to write a book now, don't I, on Less is More, so there we go.
Yeah, could be a co-ed. I could do the foreword.
David, you have a long-standing career in architecture. What was the vision behind Waverley Central development?
Gentle density again, so this sort of idea of recreating Victorian streets, Edwardian streets. So it's about creating linear, controlled master plans rather than the curvy linear cul-de-sacs that you see that the national house builders do. Creating pocket parks, tree-lined streets, strong street scenes, repetitive street scenes. So you think about Victorian streets in Leeds or Sheffield or anywhere, Bath, London, that kind of regularity. Again, it's my OCD coming out.
Yeah.
So that was the vision, but it was also about pedestrian access to the new town centre, which is Olive Lane. We've got bars, shops, restaurants that we're part of, as well as Harworth. And that ability to live somewhere and play, your kids can play on the pocket parks, they can play in the garden. You can walk to the pub, you can walk to the bars, you can walk to the shop. That kind of 15-minute city, which I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories around, but that kind of livability is what it's all about. Yeah,
it gives you more of a sense of community, I guess, doesn't it? Because if you go to the shops, going to the pub, you know, your kids are all going to school together, it kind of...
I was brought up in a terraced house, started in Barnsley, so I love the fact that my mum used to sit on the, she always tells me off saying this, but sit on the doorstep with the next door neighbour having a cig and a cup of tea while we played on the triangle. It's that recreating that kind of sense of community.
Yeah, that whole having a chat over the garden fence type of mentality is really nice, isn't it? We've lost that over the years, haven't we?
And that's the part of the problem with national estate designs. They're designed around the car, the cul-de-sac, the 50 square metre back garden with a fence, your front garden with 2 cars parked on it. We've tried to eliminate that, so you don't see the cars on the street. The cars are hidden away. You can talk to your neighbour, you can play with your neighbour, and you can go for a drink with your neighbour. Yeah. So that's the idea.
Oh, it's really good. Can you tell us about the sustainability features of the Sky House houses?
Well, again, it starts from the gentle density. So we build on brownfield land. We try to build more homes per acre, which doesn't mean cramming them on. It means about designing them properly. We use a metal frame, which is recyclable. It's efficient, it's light, it's easy to transport. So right from the factory to site, it's very quick to build. In fact, a statistic I heard the other day, it takes longer to scaffold our houses than it does to build them, to build the frames.
Wowzers.
So then, because they're factory made, they're easy to make airtight, more insulation. We've got photovoltaic panels on the roof, we've got EV charging, we've got air source heat pumps as standard. And then some of our developments are less predicated on cars, so you don't drive your car as much. So hopefully at Waverley, you might work at the Advanced Manufacturing Park, you might go to the pub, play at the schools down the road and the lake. So the idea of living somewhere to reduce car journeys as well. So it's sort of a full 360 in a way, so it's everything. Even down to the durability of the houses. We try not to use fatty materials, so we don't use much cladding. We use bricks, stone, high quality materials so it lasts.
What one feature do you think that every new build home should incorporate as standard?
Ooh, good question. What new build what feature?
Maybe me as a designer.
I'm a sucker for a roof garden. I never really thought about it, but I built a house in Barnsley years ago that had a roof garden. The house I live in's got a roof garden. A lot of ours have roof gardens. I quite like elevated amenity space. I think it gives you a different perspective on life. Sort of like apartment living, but not. So like we're sat in an upstairs lounge now, when these windows are done, you'll have this lovely elevated view when you sit on the terrace on an evening, it'll be nice and private. So I think I'm a bit of a sucker for a roof garden. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's such a great feature of the Sky House homes, isn't it? That you've got that. I think it's a real wow feature. So for me, the benefit of a new build is having a blank canvas that you can literally just go wild with your own like design aesthetic. What about you? What do you think is the benefit of a new build?
Apart from the obvious things around the structural and maintenance issues, so a new build home like ours comes with a 2-year warranty from us for the first 2 years, and then an additional 8 years after that with a warranty provider. So you've got peace of mind. There's a lot of scare stories about new build quality, which I actually think are wrong. Regulations now are the strongest they've ever been. So from a thermal perspective, air source heat pumps, loads of insulation, running costs are going to be way, way lower than a normal house. Think of an Edwardian Victorian house, single glazed windows and all that. No maintenance, no gutters to repair, no roofs to repair. It comes fully built, finished for you, day one. You've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of hassle-free living. So I think that's a huge one. Obviously there's a blank canvas side. It comes as a white box internally, you can do what you want. Modern kitchens, so all the expensive stuff's already done. Beautiful kitchens, beautiful bathrooms, and then you accessorise how you want. So I think it's the sort of minimal cost impact on living that you don't have to forecast for any cost. I think that's the main thing.
Oh, it's been really fun chatting, David. I think we've obviously both got like totally different styles, haven't we? Which always happens, doesn't it, with an architect and an interior designer? But I think we can both appreciate our different styles as well, can't we? I'm really looking forward to showing you some of my mood boards and also showing you some of the designs when they're ready as well.
Well, I'll have to invite you round to my house for a glass of wine. You can see a bit of minimalist, texturalist, floralist designs.
I'd love to see that.
I'm a little bit scared. But I do love design, so I'm really keen to see what you do, and I think it's going to be amazing.
And again, you come round to mine. Well, I've got my own cocktail bar upstairs in the tower room. So so I'll show you my Art Deco house in West Yorkshire.
Perfect.
I hope you like it.
I will.
I'm a bit worried now.